Hey, tech enthusiasts. Welcome to FocustChats, the ultimate blend of technology, fun, and education. I'm Becky Faith, your host on this thrilling ride. At FocustApps, we're all about the game-changing power of tech. And with FocustChats, we're handing you the tools to rock it. Let's get focused. Welcome to FocustChats. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Rob Johnson, the CEO of Wayne Media.
Hi,
Welcome.
Becky. Thank you, Becky.
How are you doing today?
Good.
That's
Doing
good.
well.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Rob, I just want to kick things off by, having you share a bit about your journey and leading up to becoming the CEO of Wayne Media. And if you want to go way back to when you maybe out of college or before that, that's fine too.
Sure. Well, initially when I had started down, I guess, what would have been my professional career, it was in the medical field.
Oh, okay.
So I worked as a EMT out of the ER from the time I was about 16, and then I stopped working in hospitals when I was like 22, and became somewhat, I'll call it disenfranchised with the medical industry. So everything that I was going to school for was surrounding that up until I was probably about 21, and then I switched over to business.
Okay.
So it took me quite a bit longer to finish my undergrad than I think most people. I think it took me about 6 years, mainly because I was switching degree paths so much because I couldn't really figure it out. And then I landed on business, started to work for a finance company out of Lansing, Michigan, and really enjoyed that, was in their IT department. And then as I was doing that job, did my MBA in organizational development, and really wanted to do more things on like the entrepreneurial front and start my own business. So I played around with doing a couple of like small solopreneur businesses that really didn't go anywhere. And then I was like, well, I really enjoy podcasting. I think it's going to be a really big commercial boom in the next 5 years.
Very good.
And I really enjoyed creating websites and doing creative and social media.
Okay.
And no one had really seemed to put those two things together. Like, what would it look like if a marketing agency had a podcasting studio, whether it was virtual or in person, and leveraged that inside of an agency? So spun that up, and that was in 2018 is when I started the actual, it's called Wayne Consulting Group, which is now Wayne Media.
Yes.
And I never really looked back.
That's incredible. I mean, wow, to go from medical to finance to here, but you do an incredible job. So that's great. Let's dive into the services. You touched on them a little bit with Wayne Media, but with podcasting and websites. But if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about the specific services that your company does.
There are 4 main verticals of our company, and the unofficial 5th one is consulting, mainly because that underpins every single thing that we do.
Okay.
So the 4 verticals would be creative, web, video, and podcasting. So creative services, graphic design, social media management, copywriting, content creation, blogs, things of that nature. On the video front, we shoot commercial videos, so we'll go out in the field and shoot commercials for clients, or we can shoot it inside of our studio at our office in Brighton. And then like today, we're in Louisville on location shooting, and we're down here all week, so we do that a fair bit. On the website front, we develop on Squarespace. We've developed over 300 sites on that platform, and we also manage all the sites that we develop, most of the sites that we develop. And then on the podcasting front, that's where it's really unique and diverse, because we can do it online where it's within the studio, or we can do it in person in our brick and mortar studio.
Yes.
So those 4 main services are how we serve clients, and they can either take all of the services or some of them. But the main thing is it going to be effective for them? Which verticals do we need to use to get their business in a better position? It's not just a matter of saying, yeah, we're going to do everything just because it's more money. Like, that's silly. I tell people routinely, like, spend less money, do this, let's be successful at it, and then add on.
Yeah, that's great.
And that goes back to the consulting thing, is I want to make sure people are making the right decisions in their business, from a marketing standpoint.
And I noticed when I was looking at your website, or even some of your podcasts that you do, that you talk about the consulting side you like to do because you want to bring the experience and the things that you have encountered through that to help businesses do the same thing. And I think that's remarkable that you want to do that and try to help people, because, you know, we're all trying to learn more and figure out what we're doing. And by you all having that experience, I think it's very good.
Yeah, thank you. It's been really interesting. When I started the agency and I looked at other marketing companies and kind of their business model and how they operated, it's largely volume driven. They know almost with certainty that they're going to lose clients in the next 6 months because they're just cyclical. They're not really looking out for what's going to make this business larger and make them stay with the agency. And for us, it's always been, if we can get our clients in a position where they're earning more business, they're growing, they're expanding, they're more organized, they feel like someone's actually on their team, not just a vendor that they pay and don't talk to.
Yes.
If they're an actual part of the team, they're going to stay around longer, which will increase our retention, increase our relationships, and then we don't have to go out and hunt people down and convert them every month to stay open.
Right.
So that was something that was really important to me from the beginning, was to not operate in the same fashion that, you know, the majority of agencies operate on.
Yes, well, it shows. So that's great.
That's
great. Moving on to technology and data analytics, how does Wayne Media leverage technology and, you know, to drive business growth?
Yeah, I've always looked at everything being underneath one umbrella to make a really good informed decision. Now, this is what separates us a little bit as well, as we leverage a tool called Agency Analytics that we can build customized reports. We can tie in all of the work that we're doing into one application. So that way, when we're explaining things or progress to clients, we can just go to one single source of data, review it all, and we can be able to tell how well things are going from one particular view. And tools like that have allowed us to just be more efficient with how we collect data, how we analyze data, so we don't have to go to 10 different sources. It's all in one spot.
Right.
So that's been really helpful. And then obviously the AI being in a very big boom market right now has been helpful, because that can, we can use AI to help review analytics and look at industry standards and measure our data compared to other benchmark data and make things faster.
Okay, very good. Good. It's always inspiring to hear success stories. Could you share a recent example where Wayne Media's strategies impacted a client's return on investment?
Yeah. It was actually, we were actually meeting with a client this week, and we were talking about where we started, and they were actually our first, I'll say, full-scale business that we worked with, like from the first year. And they've been with us ever since, and when they started, they were under $1 million in annual revenue, and they just eclipsed $10 million in just under 4 years, which is pretty wild.
Yes, yes.
So, and the cool thing is, like, did we have a hand in that? Yes, but it's also only possible if you got the right people that you're doing marketing for.
Yeah.
Marketing, the way that we do it, can be relatively formulaic in that you want to make sure you have a good product, there's good people, and they're driven by a really good process. And if those things exist in the core of that business, it makes our jobs as creatives a lot easier, because we're working with something that we know we can convert on. And that's the case with this company. That's been the case with a lot of the companies that we work with, even at FocustApps. You guys have an excellent core of people here, and it makes our job and demonstrating what you do that much easier, because we're not having to go back and do a ton of cleanup and deal with HR issues. And when people are calling, someone nice is answering the phone, not someone that we have to be like, why is she answering the phone?
Yes,
So that's all. That's been one of my favorite stories, is just to see how quickly the company's grow, and a lot of it is what they're doing. We're supporting.
Yes.
So it's never that
so they already have a plan.
Right.
And they come to you with it. And what I like when you're working with us, Rob, is that, like you said, you don't lay it all out. This is everything you have to do. Let's start here first, and then let's see how that is. And then, oh, by the way, we do this, or, I think this would be good to interject here. Yeah. And we appreciate that, because we do not have a marketing team, so you're like our marketing team to guide us down that path. And I think that's very helpful for businesses to grow. Marketing is important. Not everybody wants to invest in it, and not open-minded enough to see how it can help. And I think that you all, your approach helps and guide businesses to do that, at least with us and the company you just discussed, for sure.
Yeah, people can get burned as well. I think that's why marketing companies can leave bad tastes in people's mouth, because they might just be focused on the analytics or how many impressions somebody got or how many clicks came into the website, and they're not focused on conversions, and those things matter. And I think there's a lot of bad actors in the marketing space that deter people from wanting to engage companies because they're afraid of what is this going to look like if I make this investment and it doesn't work out.
Right. Well, I think you all genuinely care, because you ask, how do you think this went, and you have meetings with us, and then you provide, like you say, the data analytics and go over that with us to say, okay, we went this direction, we did these things, we tweaked this. This is how it increased, or maybe it decreased, and we need to adjust. And we really appreciate that because we don't know, and you're the expert. So by being proactive and asking those questions helps businesses grow. So, given your experience in the podcast production, what advice would you give to businesses considering launching their own podcast?
I would really encourage businesses to think about, is it something that's going to fit into the business model? And then what is going to be the end goal of the podcast? Is it going to be networking? Is it client retention? Is it offering more credibility? Is it helping to expand your library of knowledge of what's available online, which will then in turn help with things like search engine optimization?
Right.
So what's the overall goal and use case for the podcast going to be? And if it's just like, my friend has a podcast, so I want to start one, it's probably not the best business decision. There needs to be, some type of justification that coincides with the business plan that, that the podcast can fit into.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to have a plan going in. That's what we're trying to do with ours. And do you find that people adjust once they start getting into it? They go a different direction, or do you find that they stay on that plan?
I find that a lot of people, probably the majority of podcasters, adjust after they get into it. And this is the same thing I tell all the podcasts that I consult with, is you're going to discover, these are the 3 objectives that I had when I started. Then once you start, you're going to find, man, there's so many other positive byproducts of this podcast I didn't consider. And then they're going to pursue those things as well, or try and amplify those new areas. And that's the cool thing about podcasting, is there's not a one size fits all, or if you do this and this is going to happen. It's always going to be, more and more unanticipated outcomes that are on the majority positive.
Yes.
So they're going to pivot, but it's good pivots.
Yes, I agree. You're going to learn a lot, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been podcasting since, it's 11 years now. And I'm still learning new things. Every time, every interview is it's a new learning opportunity to figure out someone's interview style, or how to make better conversation, or whatever it is. And after doing it for that long, there's still more to learn.
That's right. I'm learning, that's for sure. Let's see here. Developing compelling content strategies is key. So could you share insights into your approach and how you ensure they resonate with target audiences?
Yeah. I think a big part for me has always been, what do we want to happen as a result of somebody seeing this piece of media, right? So one of my biggest complaints about people that leverage billboards and things that you can't do anything about is there's nothing that's going to happen as a result of somebody seeing that piece of media for the most part, statistically. Whereas if you're doing commercials, or you're doing social media or short form content or podcasting, that gives the end user an ample amount of things that they can do about that content. They can share it, they can go to the website, they can contact the business. Our strategy has always been, how do we get people to make a decision based on something that they see? And it has to be interesting. It can't be stock, it can't be boring, it can't be the same thing that everybody else is doing. So if we're shooting, it needs to stand out, and it needs to represent the people inside the business. There needs to be congruity between what you're putting online and what is inside the walls of the business. Because if you say, like, business X is the best business ever, and then you go there and everyone treats you horribly, it's like, well, there is something off here.
Yes.
And the other thing too is, like, if you have a really good website and story and videos, and a potential client sees that and they get acclimated to who you are, and then they come in and meet you and it's the same experience, that trust is built so much faster.
Yes.
And the progression of the sale happens so much faster because there's continuity between what's on the website and who's in the building.
Yes.
And that's really good creative and really good marketing when you can match those two
things together. Where you're being real.
Absolutely.
This is who we are.
Right.
And we're going to put it out there to let everybody see and be real about it.
Yeah. Like every word on our website I wrote. So when people read it and they come in and talk with my team and they see our values and they interact with them, it should be very similar to what they're seeing and reading online.
Yes, I agree. Very good. What do you think sets Wayne Media apart from everyone else in the industry?
I think our values are probably the thing that I look at as standing out the most. Extreme ownership is a philosophy that we all operate under, where anything that takes place within an account, it's our fault.
I love that, by the way. I think that's incredible.
It's a really good way to solve problems without finger pointing.
Right.
So, and there was an instance this week where I had talked to a client up in Michigan, and I said, hey, I'm going to get you these renders by Monday. And we were traveling, and it got... We didn't get into like 7, 8 o'clock, had no time to finish the renders and send them. So the next morning I sent him the email, and then I sent him a separate email saying, hey, I told you I'd deliver these Monday and I didn't. I said, it's 100% on me. I'll do my best to see that it doesn't happen again.
Yes.
So two separate emails, one delivering what I said and then one apologizing for blowing a deadline. Because even though I can give an excuse, I was in traffic, like, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The fact is, I said this, and it didn't happen.
Right.
So I'm going to email you and let you know. I can never promise it won't happen again.
Right.
It's a silly thing to say. This is never going to happen again.
Right.
You can't say that.
No.
But I'm going to do my best to put things in place to see that it doesn't.
Yes.
So, but that's a big part of us is accountability. We want to make sure when we say we're going to do something, we do it, and if we don't, we own it. And we're not going to try and hide from it.
Yes.
So I think the way that we operate in our values is a big separator for us, because that's something that we try and live up to, is that, extreme ownership mantra, every day.
Did those values come in the very beginning when you started the business, or did that come later?
Yeah. It's funny you ask that, because I'm actually in the middle of writing a fairly long, vision statement that's going to be put out publicly for everybody. And in this vision statement, there's 9 core areas or values that I highlight. And in the opening paragraph, I said, not all of these values were developed at the beginning of the company. Some of them were learned the hard way.
Yes.
Extreme ownership is something that was at the forefront of the company when I started. And that was probably the only one. Because as time went on, I realized we can only work with good clients. We have to interview clients just like they interview us. We can't put our team in a position where they're working with bad people. And not that they're bad people, but there's not a good fit.
It's not a fit, right. Absolutely.
And so things like that have come along. Even one of the principles is don't make things a meeting when they can be an email, and that respects the client's time, that respects our time internally, even if it's an internal meeting.
I respect that.
Yeah, absolutely. I came from corporate world where we'd have a 2.5-hour meeting for what easily could have been
How do you do any work?
This could have been a 5-minute email,
That's
guys.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So it's brevity, precision, extreme ownership, all these principles that we've now been able to round out and develop are now at the very core of how we operate as a company. But it's all things that I had to learn. In some ways, I had to learn, a very hard lesson, a very expensive lesson.
Oh yeah.
That's
part of being a CEO of a company and an entrepreneur and learning from that. The key is learning from it, and that's good, very good. Educating and empowering your customers is vital. Could you discuss how you help clients understand and leverage technology within their business?
We try to make a good effort to be on the cutting edge of what's coming down the pipeline. So when new changes are happening with SEO, when changes are happening to the search engine page, how advertising's functioning, social media. We try and make sure that we can stay ahead of that so our clients are ahead of the curve. When it comes to educating them, a big part is making sure that they understand not just what we're doing every month, but why we're doing it. Why is this going to matter for their business?
Right.
And if we're not doing that, and we're just hammering them with data, here's this very complicated report, see you next month.
Yeah.
That's not going to be helpful for them. So for us, it's always been, here's why we're doing this particular strategy, and here's how it's going to be effective for you. Do you understand? Does that make sense to you? Because if they don't understand how it fits in with their business, it's not going to be of any value to them as they're planning, all the different areas of their company.
Yeah, so. I agree. Building long-term partnerships is crucial for success. Could you provide examples how you foster these relationships with your customers?
Yeah, a big part of how we've been able to grow and continue to have the success that we've had is our employees ensuring that they are taking care of clients in a similar fashion to I would. So like one of our values of our company is employees over clients. And it's always interesting when I tell people that because they're like, oh, you don't care about clients. It's like, no. I care about clients so much that I recognize we have over 50. I'm one person. If I'm not pouring into my team so they can take care of clients, I'm not doing my job as our leader. So employees have to come first so that way they can then take care of our clients. If me as the owner is prioritizing clients' needs and stepping over employees and not letting them work on the account that they should be working on and just micromanaging everybody, it's not effective. And then the client over time is going to worry, well, what happens if something happens to Rob?
Right.
Like he's holding the whole thing up.
Right.
That doesn't show a lot of stability in the long game. So
and trust in your employees.
Absolutely right.
You got to have trust.
Yeah. And then you're in a turnover nightmare where you're just on a hiring end, and then it's hey Becky, another account lead, third one this month, and you're like, what is going on over there?
Right.
And that's what you don't want. You want to show that there's consistency. You're always going to deal with a little bit of turnover here and there, but you want it to be controlled. And moreover, you want the company to be able to outlive the person that started it. That's the goal. That's how the legacy of the business works. So in terms of retaining clients, we've always really tried to make an effort of letting them know that we are an extension of their team. We're not just a marketing vendor. We're not just a social media company. Like I really care about the progression of someone's business beyond what they're doing from a marketing perspective. If they need help with sales, org dev, like whatever it is, like we can step in and help, fill that need or, stand in until it's filled by somebody else. But I want to make sure the business overall is healthy and successful, not just the marketing.
Yep, very good, very good. Measurement is important in marketing, and we may have hit on this, but could you explain how you all measure the success of campaigns and how it determines the return on investment?
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways that we can measure something, but I'll give the two most common examples. And I'm going to start by talking about what you shouldn't do.
Okay.
So if someone's watching this and they're engaged with a marketing company, you shouldn't just measure impressions or reach or traffic because those are good secondary metrics that can support, hey, things are moving in the right direction, but they don't really demonstrate an ROI. Or an ROO, which is a return on opportunity. Like you need to be able to articulate both things within the metrics. So organically, if we're looking at search engine optimization or how well social media is converting, we would look at the content, the referral traffic to the website, and then is that turning into new prospects? So we'd look at that particular funnel. With advertising, it's similar. We have more control over who sees the ads, whether it's through Google search or it's through targeted social media ads. So with paid traffic, we can look at who are we going after and targeting, what types of searches are triggering people clicking on the ad, what are they doing on the landing page, are they calling, are they filling out a form, are they just leaving? And then we can assess, okay, what were the quality of those prospects, did they turn into clients? And then we can say, okay, you spent $50,000 on marketing last year, but you earned $750,000 in new opportunities from those direct ads.
What we helped you with, yeah, absolutely.
In one of the case studies on the website, we showed an 11-to-1 ROI for a client. They spent roughly $60,000 in ads, and then they achieved a little bit over $600,000 in direct sales solely from the advertising.
Okay.
The other thing, and we talked about return on opportunity, is you might have a referral client that comes in, but that referral client's still not necessarily sure if they want to go with you yet. So now they're checking out your social media, they're checking out your website, they're looking at your podcast or your videos. All of that marketing collateral is helping them make a decision to go with your company. So is it directly responsible for the conversion? No. But is it responsible for supporting the conversion? Yes. And that's where you have to look at how is the entire cycle of marketing working together to help the company move forward.
Yeah, we have had several clients that have told us that, we went out and before we came to you all, and we looked at all the social media. We actually talked to or went out and looked at your employees' social media to make sure that, we are a good fit. Yeah. And I do think that what you do for businesses is very important because you want to have that image across the board. Internally, businesses want to make sure their employees are posting and doing the right things and marketing the right way, and then as well as the social media. So, we've had them come to us because of what you all have done for us. And also, too, for the fact that I think as a business, we've hired people that understand you don't want to be out there posting things you're not supposed to be posting. We have a good culture. We have good people that are doing that. So I think building that relationship and seeing the ROI is very, very important for everyone. Reflecting on your journey, what qualities do you believe had contributed most to your success as the CEO of Wayne Media?
It's a big question.
We never think about ourselves, I think you have to really.
I think when I was doing my MBA, we had, my thesis was about employee retention and what type of leadership style fostered the best environment for retention. And what I landed on and what I argued was that servant leadership was the best avenue for employees to be retained, because when you're in the trenches when you need to be, and when you're showing that you're willing to do the smallest job or the biggest job, and you're supporting the people that are there helping your business win in the marketplace, all of those things go a really long way to fostering an environment that people want to be a part of, a culture that they get excited about working in. And not every day is going to be awesome and exciting. And sometimes, even for me, it's like, all right, not looking forward to this one.
Right.
And that's just, that's just honesty. I think people, you have a little bit of a dose of realism.
If you have a good culture, you can be honest. You'd be like we came in today, oh, it's raining today.
Yeah. And I think that's what people in the company, I would assume, appreciate about me, is that I'm very real with them. I'm very honest. I tell them exactly what I think and exactly how I feel. That way no one ever has to question where they stand.
Yeah.
And when there's a problem, I will be the first one to raise my hand and say, this is my fault. I set this up. It wasn't good. And I'm going to make it better. So I think
that's good leadership, though. I think that by you doing that helps your teammates, your employees, feel comfortable enough that they can say that too. Because no one ever likes to say that they are wrong or they made a mistake. But if someone takes that lead, it's an example for everyone else too.
Yeah. So. And at the end of the day, anything that happens within the walls of the company is my responsibility. So even if it's someone brand new and they come in and they botch an account, did I have the right training in place? Were the procedures written well?
Right,
did I coach them the right way? Well, if they made that big of a mistake, probably not. So it's not their fault. It's really mine. And that's a hard connection for a lot of people to make.
Right.
But it's one that I
Instead
found
of pointing fingers, you're taking responsibility that there was other things I could have done to help prevent that.
Absolutely.
Very
and
good.
it's been easier in solving problems because now we can focus on a solution instead of me saying, oh, it's this person's fault, or why did she do that? And it's just not helpful for anybody.
No, very good. Very good. Avoiding common mistakes is key. Could you share some pitfalls CEOs in the media industry should avoid? and how you mitigate them?
I think probably the single biggest mistake I see business owners making is not leveraging something called decentralized command. In the extreme ownership philosophy, there's this idea that when you structure a business, you need to have these command points throughout the business. People that can operate with autonomy, they can make decisions, they can do things without needing to have a lot of oversight. So one of the first things I did once we started to, I'll say, formalize and realize that this thing's going to grow into something quite big, is I put a leadership team together with directors over each area of the business. Okay. And the end goal being that each director is responsible for that department and making those decisions, and they can make decisions with limited oversight, knowing that even if they make the wrong call, I'll still support them because that's my job.
Yes, very good.
So this idea of, I'm the boss, I need to keep everything close to my chest and I can't let anything go is quite destructive, because then it makes people feel micromanaged. It makes them feel like you don't trust them.
Right.
And if you don't trust them, that might be a signal that either A, you have the wrong person in that seat and you can't trust them, or B, that there's something wrong with you letting go of control. And that was a really good lesson for me, is, here's the people that I'm going to put in place to lead the company and the people that I want clients to look at. And once I made that change, it was just very easy to start shifting things over to them and giving them that responsibility. So spreading out responsibility throughout your leadership team as your company grows is extremely important, but it's something that I find a lot of business owners have a hard time grasping and doing and executing on.
Yeah, I think you have a great culture by being that way. I know that at FocustApps we have that as well. And,
Absolutely.
And I love that, because they allow us, they basically say, this is your role, and we support you no matter what. And as long as you get the work done and you do it and you treat the customers good, and we trust you that you'll take care of that. And I just think that helps people have ownership and learn from their mistakes, and you're not having someone fire you because you made a mistake, and you feel comfortable, and it's a good way to manage, I think, for sure.
Yeah, someone on my leadership team had asked me during one of our last meetings, like, how do I go about making a decision when you're not here, when it needs to be made, but I'm not certain
right.
what decision it should be? And the first thing that jumped in my head was the first thing that I said, which I think was the right answer, which is, if you can explain to me why you made the decision, if you can justify it. I might disagree with your justification, but if you have reasoning behind it, and it's like, hey, I sold this contract for a little bit less because of these reasons and because it made sense, I can appreciate that. Sure. What I can't appreciate is someone that just makes a decision with no thought.
Right.
So if you are making a decision and you have, some evidence, you have some justification behind why you did it, I might disagree with it, but I will respect the fact that you made the decision with thought.
Well, everyone's different, and everyone has a different approach. So, but then also too, that's time for you to be able to help guide or educate, or say, maybe we don't want to go this way, we can go this way with that contract,
Absolutely.
And I think that just makes a better bond between all your teammates or employees. I like to call them teammates, because that's what we are. We're a team, right?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
right. Finally, Rob, what advice would you offer to aspiring CEOs or young professionals looking to make an impact in marketing?
I would say that the biggest thing that I've learned is you're not going to do it alone. Like, it's easy to look at what we've done at Wayne Media and say, oh, Rob did this, he started this, he put all this together. I couldn't have done it without the people that supported all of that work. My wife had a large hand in the design aspect of how the company was going to operate on the Speakeasy side, which is our podcast studio. And then we had a lot of key players come in and make a tremendous impact and have been with me for years. People that have been responsible for turning departments into what they are today. So if you're aspiring to be a CEO, don't aspire for the title. Aspire for it it's very much an earned title. Like, you can be a solopreneur and call yourself a CEO. I don't know how, but you can do it. But beyond the title, there has to be a supporting cast that's in the background that is helping put all of that together, that you have to recognize, and you have to note that it's not just you that did it. Because Wayne Media wouldn't be half of what it is today without those people. And you have to be able to recognize that. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, it's how great I am." That's not how it works.
Well, that's not you. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's just talk a little bit more. Let's talk about the Fox. Let's talk about the Fox.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm a big logo person. Looking at the logo, why did they come up with that?
Yeah.
I read about it, but can you explain where that came from and why you decided to go that route?
Yeah. So the Fox was something that was. I used to be a part of this group that it was a ministry, and they basically came together to help men figure out how to be more effective in their lives. So I spent a lot of time inside of that ministry, and one of the exercises that we did was like animal identification. So like, how do you feel when it comes to certain issues, or how do you overcome problems? And it might sound simplistic or silly, but it was actually really, really helpful and impactful for people to relate things that way.
Sure.
Made them think about things differently. During one of the sessions, one of the problems that I was experiencing felt like, you need some outside the box thinking, you need, some cunning,
Sure.
you need some very fast decision making. And a Fox was what I, attributed that to. So then fast forward to when I was creating the company, and I was thinking about, well, what type of visual representation do I want? It just seemed to make sense. Foxes are very creative thinkers, very
Sure.
outside the box. And that's what we are. We don't handle things the same way for every client. And it just seemed to make sense and fit together. I will say, a lot of people look at it and like, that's a sweet wolf. And I'm like, it's not a wolf, it's a fox, and you should know the difference.
So I get that. You gotta make sure you take care of what your that logo is. And it's kind of like your name. When they say your name wrong, you go, well, don't say that wrong.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I love that. So just tell us a little bit about how within your company, with your employees, I know that later on as they, get in their role and they need to advance maybe in certain areas, do you have them go out and get certified? Do you do some training? Do you all have events or people that come in and speak, or what do you do?
Early on, I did a lot of, when we were less than 10 people, I did a lot of the trainings like right in my office. I have a conference table in there, and it was easy to get everybody around the same table back then. Now it is not. Now there's 2 offices. It's gotten to the point where it's hard to get us all in the same room, which is something I'm sure you guys can sympathize with.
Yes.
So from a training perspective, something new that we're implementing this year is we're doing a monthly training topic that people can suggest or vote on. And then, so whether it's from a customer service perspective, whether it's drilling down into extreme ownership, or, how we go through a sales cycle, like really anything that people in the company want to know, I'll get up, we'll do lunch, I'll talk about it for a half hour, answer questions for a half hour, and that's something new we're implementing this year.
I like that.
In terms of something I've always thought was really unique and I thought necessary as the leader of the company is, if I have employee A, and they come to me and they say, "Hey, Rob, in the next year, I probably want to leave the agency and do something else." While I never want to lose anybody, I can certainly respect someone wanting to go and do something else and being even happier with their life. So I'll start helping them make moves to do that. So whether I need to write letters of recommendation or contact some people that I might know in that industry and help them find that. Because at the end of the day, I want someone to come to Wayne Media. If they want to stay forever, awesome.
Yes.
But I'm also smart enough to know that that's not how most people operate.
Right.
And they might want to make a move. And if that's the case, I want to help them make that move. That way they can be happier. Because at the end of the day, and that's one of our principles as well, like the work we do at Wayne Media is not the most important work in our lives.
Right.
And that's always resonated with me, because even what I work on at home with my kids and helping shape them as they get older, that's far more important than marketing. And it's not to say that what we do isn't important, but there are levels to this.
Yes.
And that's something that I never wanted to lose sight of. Absolutely.
Family first. Very good. I love that. Do you have any funny stories you would like to share with us that have happened, maybe with a customer or within the office, with the employees?
I will say this is probably this is probably not like the best, this will probably get used against me if I ever run for political office, but I will say one of the funniest things that happens is we have a giant no soliciting sign on our front door. Just because in our office, when you walk in, all of our creatives are like right when you walk in the door. There's 5 desks up there. So there's 5 people typically working. So I only want people coming in to be clients or prospective clients, people that have scheduled meetings. Sure. But every now and then we get solicitors. So there was, the first summer we were at the office, we had one guy kept coming in and trying to like sell cell phones. So by like the second or third time, like I was hearing everyone up front and it was getting, rather distracting. And he was really bad at selling. So I came out of my office and I said, hey, I'd like to meet with you. And like, he was excited. He thought it was about cell phones. It wasn't. So I took him into our green room, which is, probably a couple rooms back from when you come into our office. And I said, listen, selling cell phones is not what you should be doing. So you're not very good at it.
Very good.
I said, you don't listen. You don't pay attention to people. So when someone gives you a message, no soliciting, stop coming here, you have to listen and respect that.
Respect it. Yes.
So I said, this probably isn't the right industry for you. And now it's been told as like, I just told him, he sucks at his job and he should quit. There was a little bit more than that.
You were trying to help him.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to see him continue making the same dumb decisions, and then because
awesome.
Because that can turn into bitterness, where it's like it's everybody else's fault.
Yes.
Everyone else is mean. It's like, no, you just suck at what you're doing right now.
Right.
You need to get better or find something that you actually care about doing.
Right. Well, you were giving him some advice that he needed.
Yeah.
And, hopefully he was open-minded enough. Did he come back?
He did not. So that was good. So he got the message. And also it was also self-serving too, because I wanted him to quit coming in.
Yes.
So there was two competing things, there. It's like, listen, this isn't for you, and stop coming here.
Right.
Right.
I think it was great advice. Hopefully he took it and maybe went and did something else other than sales.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you were going to hire him to do something different.
Yeah, no, the generosity wasn't that high that day. In the second, this is another cell phone related story, and it was just hilarious. This older gentleman came in. I think he thought we were the Verizon store. Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he thought, I don't know why, it says Wayne Media and Speakeasy on our sign, but he thought it was the Verizon store. He was out and it was super bright outside. He couldn't figure out why his phone was so dark. So I fixed his auto brightness detection settings for him and sent him on his way.
Maybe cell phones is where you need to go.
Yeah, right? No, it's another consulting vertical we can open up.
That's right. That
always just made me laugh. It was a real quick fix, and I saved him a couple mile trip down the road to Verizon. So.
That's right. That's funny.
Yeah. So
That's
you
great.
get some characters. We had a guy come in trying to sell people mushrooms.
Oh goodness.
I don't know if they were like the hallucinogenic mushrooms, or if they were like
the morel.
Yeah, just like a real quality steak mushroom. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Some kid came in trying to sell books. It's funny. Like even when we have the no soliciting sign, people
ignore it.
People still come in, and it's funny. I got back from vacation last week or 2 weeks ago at this point, and I actually came in a day before I was supposed to come back. I just came in to like drop off a check and do a couple things. And some dude came in and solicited. So like I actually came up from the back and I was like, listen, man, you can just take a card, send me an email on it, but you can't solicit here. It says it on the front of the building.
Right.
So it still happens.
Yeah.
It's just
they're just like this. No, I don't see that sign.
Yeah. I think we just need to make it bigger.
That's right. That's right. That is right. Okay. Well, great. What about let's see. Do you have any events that you all do as a team building event outside of the office, or something that you might do inside the office?
So that's something that we're trying to make an effort to do more of. We certainly don't do it as much as we should. Like the creative team is making more of an effort to get together and do coffee and just kind of talk general business things, not necessarily client things, but like what's social media trends or what they like on different platforms, and just kind of making that more like casual than business. My favorite event we do every year is our annual Christmas party. That's the last year we had a super good time doing that. And then last fall I started doing a workshop for entrepreneurs, and the team's invited as well, just to help business owners make better decisions within their company. So these are org dev workshops built around how to help entrepreneurs or students. A few students came as well.
Great.
How to help them make
Wish more
good
people
decisions.
did that. I just think that's incredible to help the community and help people, guide them, and then what, as a business owner, you also know that you're planting a seed that, hey, we offer these services to help you, you know. And if I can't help you, maybe you know someone that can use our services. Yeah. That helps too.
And it was cool too, because when we set up, it was called the Entrepreneur Forum, and when we set it up, there was rules, like you can't pitch your business from the stage. So you can't talk about what services you offer. You can't do any self-promotion. Like there was,
I get that. I do.
The audience members can't cross-talk. That way the conversation during the Q&A period stays between the presenter and the questioner. And those were things that I think made the event significantly better, and people really enjoyed it, and I had great feedback from it. But those
they can they can kind of let their hair down, as they would say.
Yes, that's what I did. Yes. That's what happened. I let it down too much.
I think it's great. My father was
he outgrew his hair as well.
He outgrew his hair,
very good.
And my brothers, and I think they're all very handsome, and so it's not a big deal.
It's a good look.
It's a good look. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I dig it. So
that's awesome. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Rob. I've learned so much. I appreciate your all's business and all the employees that I've been able to work with and be close with. If you would like to reach out to Wayne Media or Rob Johnson, the CEO of Wayne Media, please reach out to him as...
Yeah, so WayneMedia.com is where all of our, you can find all of our services, pricing, how we do things, example of our work. Mm-hmm. And we'll get a hold of you as soon as we can. You'll probably talk to me.
That's right.
What a treat that will be.
Thank you, Rob.
Absolutely. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.